good morning, good afternoon and good evening to you, the wonderful people of YouTube. Hope you're well today, hope you're feeling grand and all is well in your world. Today, we are doing another how many tones can you get out of 1 amp video. And today we're doing the great Mick Ronson, who, coincidentally, comes 45 minutes away from where I am standing right now. He is a local boy to me. He's from the great county of Lincolnshire, from the town of Hull. And that's about 45 minutes away from where I'm stood, so that's really cool. I think him and the bass player were from around here. I think they were both from Hull. I forget if the drummer was in Bowie's band, but if he is, let me know. So yeah, that's really cool. And I say, you know, with David Bowie's passing, I feel this is like a really kind of like, you know, it'd be a good video to do as a tribute to Mick and to Mr. Bowie, and play some real classic, you know, Ziggy riffs, if you will, and Bowie riffs on the CR120. Anyway, moving along. So, what did Mick Ronson use? Well, he had his stripped Les Paul Custom. By stripped, I mean like it was black, and then he took the finish off the top of it, so it's kind of like a natural wood finish. Amp-wise, mainly a Marshall guy. He used to use the Marshall Major, just a 3-dial one though, not the big panel, not the 6-dial one. It's only 3 dials on it, and I forget what they were, but it was modded. With XLR inputs on the back for his Echoplex, if I remember correctly. Anyway, it's definitely modded. And also, he didn't run it at 200 watts. The Marshall Major being 200 watts of immense, evil power. He actually ran it at 100 watts. He actually had put 2 of the power tubes pulled out and just had the 2 left, so he just ran at 100 watts. Because 100 watts, if anybody stood in front of a 100 watt Marshall Plexi cranked up, that's more volume than you'll ever need. So having a 200 watt amp might have been a bit excessive, but you could go the Richie Blackmore route and have, what was it, 400 watt amplifier? Yes, yeah. Anyway, that's another story for another video. But yeah, back to Mick Ronson. So yeah, that was his amps. He also used JCM 45. Gene Genie was recorded on tiny little practice amp. God knows what. It could have been any amp in the world, but it was very, very small. Mick said it was a very, very small practice amp. Pedal wise, Crybaby Wah Wah pedal is kind of like a mainstay of his things. He always had a wah pedal, and he'd get certain tones by having like the pedal on like a certain kind of axis of the pedal. And that is a tone I'm not going to go into today, because obviously you can only get it out of a wah wah pedal, and I don't have it. Also, he had a Vox tone bender, a rack distortion, MXR distortion plus, quite a lot of things. So, what sound have I gone for? Because there's so many. I've gone for his live sound. Just because it's really hard to kind of like pin him down to a certain sound on records. So I've gone for his basic, like, you know, real cranked up Marshall like Major kind of live sound. And I say I've got no pedals, but at the end of the day I'm gonna shove a fuzz pedal in and a wah pedal and do some kind of like messing around. Hopefully in the style of Mick, and we'll see. You know, I'll show you what kind of does that. But again, that's just gonna be like an added extra. So yeah, let me show you the EQ on the CR120. I'm not using the clean channel at all, so you can disregard the clean channel. It's all on the dirty channel. Use my vintage Lemon Drop Peter Green model. So yeah, let me show you the EQ on the amplifier. Okay, Smokey, so dirty channel, EQ, what have I got? We've got the gain at 4.5-ish, maybe just a little bit over 4.5, you can see there. Bass is all the way up on 10, middle is on 2, treble is off, and volume is on 10. No reverb, and the usual master volume at 2. So, basically, this is kind of imitating kind of like, you know, a cranked up Marshall kind of sound, because you don't get a great deal of gain out of a cranked up Marshall, if kind of like, you know, really. So he did actually boost his Major with well, originally a Vox tone bender, until I think either it was stolen or it broke, I can't remember, and then he replaced it with a rack distortion. But the Vox tone bender is the main kind of sound of Mick live, especially during the early days of the Bowie band. So that's what I've done here. So, you know, not a great deal of gain, but a real nice, you know, real broken up sound, especially with the Les Paul. It sounds absolutely brilliant. So yeah, so let me show you what it sounds like. Okay, so engage dirty channel, Les Paul, straight in, no pedals. Mick Ronson, I hope you can hear this. It's an immensely inspiring sound. I feel that's really close to that real, not heavily distorted at all. It's really, really clean kind of breakup. It's really nice sound. It really is gorgeous. And I say having that bass on 4 just gives it so much oomph. It's so cool. So I'll say, let me know as usual what you think, how close that is, because I feel that's really close. And just playing those riffs, just not only does it sound right to me, being like, you know, in this room and where I am, but it feels right, if that makes any sense. Especially when you, especially doing that. You know, it just sounds big and really powerful with, again, not a great deal of gain. I mean, that's one of the things. I mean, those old Marshalls, you didn't get a great deal of gain out of them, even with, you know, I mean, it was only running at technically 100 watts, so it didn't get a great deal, you know, so it's just awesome. Yeah, it's just really, really cool sound, great sound. And I'll say, you know, he did have a wah-wah pedal, kind of, it was kind of his main kind of pedal, so to say, and like he would click that on and kind of have it at like certain angles, and I'll say, I'll get around to that in a sec. But I say, you know, in my opinion, the CR120 does it again. Again, this is feel as close as I can get without actually being Mick Ronson, having his gear, and, you know, again, being him, because, you know, 99.9% of tone comes from you. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't come from your equipment. You make it do what it does. You know, this guitar can't play itself, you know. So, and neither can the amp. The amp can't make, you know. Mick Ronson said that, you know, it all comes from you, and he said, like, you know, the gear helps, you know, but, you know, it's only kind of like a, it's only a means to kind of express what you have already inside of you anyway. That's all an amplifier and a guitar and any kind of pedals you have. It just expresses what you want. So, what you are, what you want to say at that point in time. So, yeah, let me know what you think. I absolutely adore this sound. This is one of the most coolest sounds I feel I've got out of the CR120 yet. Just big and fat. Just big and fat and real meaty. It's just amazing. And I say this guitar sounds great for it. So yeah, again, no pedals, as you can see. That's a lead straight in. You can see it swinging about. So yeah. So now let's, I'll tell you what, why not? Let's have a bit of fun. Let's plug in a Vox wah-wah pedal. Actually, no, I'm going to get my Crybaby wah pedal, because that'd be more right. So Crybaby wah pedal and a fuzz pedal, and I'll tell you what fuzz pedal is in a minute when I decide. So let's do that, and thank you very much for watching. Have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening. Thank you, Mick, for the amazing tones and songs and riffs. Amazing. Really should be more well known. Absolutely, very massively underrated guitarist. So yeah, thank you very much indeed, and I'll see you again on another video very, very soon. Should be then some point during this week, maybe beginning of next week, maybe, I don't know. I'm going to be demoing my Eddie Van Halen guitar. So thank you very much. See you again. Thank you, Mick. See you again. Thank you, Bowie, as well. See you later. Bye. Okay, before I play with this immense sound, which you're about to hear, let me tell you what I've just done. Also, I forgot to mention earlier on that Mick did actually use an Echoplex, so that was, you know, that was routed through his Marshall Major, and that was way behind it. But he did have a pedal up the front which he could turn on and have it set absolutely balmy delays. But anyway, what I've done here, just to show you kind of like, you know, to get a bit more about Mick Ronson's sound, I want to go on quick. I'm going to talk quite fast, quick. Is I've got a Crybaby wah-wah pedal, and I've also been lent this pedal to try out by Broken Audio Devices. It's a company who sent me this this pedal. It's a fuzz pedal called the Dirty Boots pedal, and I've plugged that in. I only got it today, and it just kind of sounds really cool because, I say, Mick used a Vox tone bender. But check this noise out. So that's just the amp. Add in the fuzz. That's just mean. And then you say you wedge the wah-wah pedal. You get all different kind of sounds just by just using a wah pedal for not just going all the time with it. It just sounds cool. What a sound. And also it's very important to note that if you're going to go and try and get this Mick Ronson kind of fuzz wah-wah sound, run the wah-wah pedal after your fuzz. So from your amp to your fuzz to your from your amp to your wah to your fuzz pedal, because then it gives you that immense. Make sure you do a lot of bending strings behind there. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again. Goodbye now.